Alright guys, so Smartele reached out to me to do a review on their floor fan. Now this isn't just like a plug-in floor fan, it's actually one that's battery powered, and I think this would be a great useful piece of equipment for off-grid purposes, and I think that's why they reached out to me. So even though this isn't like a solar generator or anything solar related, I think this is a pretty useful product, and so I'm just going to review it, unbox it first, and then I'm going to go ahead and test it pretty soon here after I just get everything sorted out. Alright, so it's a pretty large box here, and the fan in here is taking up most of the box. Sometimes it doesn't happen with some of the products I receive, but you'll see it's a pretty big fan. So this is how it was boxed. I know it's pretty crummy here, but you can see that it's pretty reinforced, so that's good to see. And then it comes with this little wall charger for the battery. So let's go ahead and look at this a little more in depth. All right, so here's everything that it comes with, as well as the fan itself. So we have the just basic instruction manual, we have the wall charger, and then we have the fan. Now the fan is pretty cool. It's a few things I'm noticing besides obviously it uses a battery instead of a AC cord. It's made of all metal, which is pretty impressive. I think even this yellow outline is made of metal or plastic, I'm not quite sure. But the entire cage surrounding it, as well as this little handle, is metal. Plus the blades inside are a clear plastic. And I use a decent amount of fans, not on my channel, but just like in general. And I've never seen fans with like a translucent frame. I don't know if that does anything, but it's pretty interesting. I don't think that serves any function at all. But we have the brick back here that serves as the power level indicator, as well as the battery status. So zooming in on here, you could see that there's different status levels. We have them in 20% increments. So we have 20, 40, 60, 80, 100%. And we'll go ahead and test that later on. Next here we have the off switch, on switch, and then we have a dial here that you simply turn on. Oh, and here you have it. So I literally just turned it, and once you turn it, it goes on. We're at 40% battery, and it is spinning. So this is a very light setup. Let me go ahead and zoom out here. Very nice, and it's silent, so really cool. So on the side here, I'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit. You can see that they have this this little adjuster, so you can tighten it here. I'll tighten the other side as well, and it simply just locks it into place. And the bottom frame, I'll try and get this in the picture. It's a metal, probably aluminum stand here, and the bottoms here are interesting. It is rubberized, but it's kind of a unique sort of design. It looks like it will work on a lot of different surfaces. It's sort of a awkward looking grip, but it is a rubberized bottom, but it's been etched out in a way where it has like a grippy bottom. So this seems like it would be a very useful way of hoisting it up or just keeping it on the ground. You have another one of those things here. So first impressions are pretty cool. It's pretty silent. A couple things here for the on the back of it. We have a USB charger. So it has this almost looks like a waterproof or just dustproof cover. I'm trying to undo it now, and just simply opens up. Looks like a standard USB, so you could charge devices from it. I'm curious to see how that works. And then we have the specifications here. You have the dimensions. It has a lithium-ion battery, 2,500 milliampere hours. The maximum power is 43 watts from this, And then we have the noise level, which is cool. We have the minimum noise level, 45 decibels, max noise level, 63 decibels. And then the IP rating is IP24, so I'm pretty sure that's a pretty low rating, so this is something that is not waterproof by any means. But overall, the things I'm curious about the most are the noise, how well the fan actually works, and how long the battery lasts when I'm using it. And on the side here is where you have the wall charging input, and it's one of those little tiny rubber flaps. There you have it. And then just plug the wall charger in. So I'm going to charge this up, and then I'll go ahead and test it out next. Alright, so that's what it looks like when I just plug in the charger. Wall charger is pretty standard. Not sure how fast it'll recharge, but I'm assuming that since the battery is only 2,500 milliampere hours, it won't take that long to recharge. So cable length is decently long. I would say it's about 4 feet. Alright, so we've got the fan running. It's extremely quiet. I have it running at maybe 3/4 speed. It's pretty good, and it's pretty amazed by how quiet it is. So this fan is the 16-inch version, and they also have a 12-inch version. So 16 inches, I believe, is just the diameter of the fan itself, but it also has a frame here that extends about 2 inches on each side, maybe a little less. So if you're looking to store this in a small area, just keep that in mind. It's not just 16 inches. The battery pack is also important to keep in mind, because that also protrudes a little bit, but it doesn't seem to go that much further past this back bar. So I used this yesterday for a little bit. I started using it at 5 o'clock, and I had it on its higher setting. So I had it on about 3/4 setting, maybe a little higher. So it was running at about 80% speed, and it was at 100% battery. So I just charged it all the way and ran it at this level for about, I want to say, 2.5 to 3 hours. And now it's here at the 60% level, so it's between 60 and 80% battery. I would say it's probably around 70%. But if it were to get closer to that 60% battery and get close to running into the 50s in terms of battery percentage, then this blue light would start blinking under the 60% logo or 60% icon. And once it starts blinking, then you realize, okay, it's around 60% battery, and then it lowers. So that's your indicator there. Then it has here this red light at 20%. That's always going to be that way. That's just saying basically it's lower battery, but you can still run it until it reaches 0% battery. So it ran very well, and as you can listen here, you can't really hear it that much, and that's a really good sign. It's very quiet for the type of fan that it is, and I actually have quite a few just plug-in standard fans, and they're all louder than this. Now granted, they might have more power, but even the small fan I use in my office is actually much louder than this one. I want to talk about the power as well as the how long it lasts, because it does have its own battery, and it is kind of a small battery in general. Just since I've done a lot of the portable power station reviews, this battery is rated at 2,500 milliampere hours, and in terms of watt hours, I don't really know how big of a battery that is, but it's pretty small if you just look at it. But I believe it's lithium-ion. Yes, it is, and it lasted at least 2.5 hours for me when I needed it at around 5 o'clock yesterday. So it worked really well for what I needed. But in the manual here, it has the estimated working times, and it says at minimum speed this will work for 30 hours, and that's the same as the 12-inch smaller version. And then at maximum speed, it works for 3 hours. So, and for the smaller 12-inch version, it works for 4 hours at maximum speed. So not that big of a difference there. But 3 hours at maximum speed, and I want to say at maximum speed it is pretty fast, but it's not like a plug-in box fan that it goes at max speed. Those can go extremely fast. So since it has this battery, it's not going to be as fast as you would probably think for just a normal plug-in fan, but this is its maximum setting right here. Okay, and it actually is pretty fast, but yeah, I actually haven't cranked the dial that hard before, but it actually does go pretty fast. So I mean, it's not that far off from a plug-in fan in terms of maximum speed. However, the 3 hours, it'll only run 3 hours at maximum speed, so I wouldn't recommend this being your sole fan or like air conditioner, so to speak, for maybe your camper van or something like that. But this would definitely be a good, useful tool for just keeping the air a little cooler and just moving it around, keeping circulation. And the maximum power here for both the smaller 12-inch version and this 16-inch one is 43 watts, which actually is not that high of a power output. But considering that the fan blades seem to be made of this like really thin plastic material, I could see why it would still have a really nice, powerful high setting. So 43 watts maximum is not too bad, and I think that's about half of what my plug-in box fan uses. And that one, I think, on its high setting, which is the number 3 setting, it is I want to say around 96 watts. But it does push air a little more than this one, like maybe 25% more at its maximum level. So right here we have the USB port, and I'm just going to test it with my phone just to make sure that it's charging. I'm not really going to do the exact wattage because it says that it's just a 5 volt 1 amp, so it's going to output 5 watts maximum. I'll just go ahead and plug it in and make sure that it's working. Alright, and so it is charging it. I just checked, I had to stop filming, but it is charging the phone. And the good thing about this is that there's no special thing you have to turn on in order to work the USB port. The fan is in the off setting. All you have to do is plug it in and then plug it into whatever device you need to charge, and it'll charge it up. Now, if you're going to use this a lot, I probably would not recommend doing that. I'm sure this is pretty much just like an emergency case sort of charging feature, but it is nice to have in case you like need to charge your phone or something like that. So the USB port works fine, and it also has this nice little cover, as I've mentioned previously, just in case you carry this around in some locations where you could get some debris in there. It's nice to have that cover on it. Now, in terms of cleaning the inside blade, I know that a lot of dust can really get inside the like different fans, and it could also just disrupt the overall like noise that the fan produces. And so, since this is pretty new to me, and it's only like the 3rd time I'm using this one, I realized that you probably would want to get inside of this to clean the actual clear fan blades. And I noticed here that they're already starting to get just a little bit of like dust on them. I'm zooming in there just so you see, but it's nothing like significant. However, it is only the 3rd time I'm using them, so I would imagine these would get decently dusty after only a few uses. But one thing I noticed is that they have screws. If I can show them to you, there's one screw, and they go all around the fan, and they're just the standard crisscross design. I don't know the actual name for it, but you can see there's just like a standard screw, and those are all around the entire fan. And so if you really wanted to, you could remove that this metal casing to get to the inside and clean it out if you wanted to. Now, they recommend in the instructions just use like a dry cloth to get all that debris out, just so you don't use anything wet and potentially mess up the electronics. So you can get in here. I'm not sure if that does anything to the warranty if you actually unscrew it, so I definitely make sure just to clear that up if you're worried that it could mess with the warranty. But if you want to clean it, you can easily access it with the screws. Right now, I'll go over the the angle adjustment. So I think they said in the instructions it goes up to like 160 degrees. So right now I have it in its most folded or downward setting. You can see it's angled just slightly down, and you could put this on a high, maybe a shelf or something if you want to aim it down. But I'm assuming most people want to aim it up, and they obviously thought of that. And so all you have to do is turn the knobs counterclockwise, and you can adjust where you want it. And I'll just go all the way so you can adjust it up till here. That's where it's giving me some resistance. So you could basically put this almost all the way upright and have it push air upwards at a pretty steep angle. So that's the adjustment that you can get. Once again, about 160 degrees is what they said. And then you just tighten it by turning the knobs clockwise, and it stays really secure. And the we'll get into the rubber bottoms that keep it in place in a second, but the tightening screws, it definitely keeps it in place. It's not moving around a ton, but the thing is, if anything pushes it forward, obviously it doesn't have anything to support it there, so I just make sure you keep it from accidentally falling forward. Now we'll go ahead and turn on the high setting just to see how much it vibrates. It's not really vibrating at all. It's just a little bit when I touch it. Then if I loosen it here, I don't know if you can see any movement on the camera, but I don't see anything moving, maybe a little vibration. But you should be fine by keeping this in any angle that you could put it on. Just make sure that it doesn't fall forward. All right, and then once again, here we have the rubber stoppers or grips. Take this out of here. So we have the rubber grips here, and I personally really like them. Now there's 3 of them. There's one on each side, of course, and then you have one on the rear. And I think they do a really good job of just keeping it in place. Now I haven't put it on any like rough ground. It's always been just like either carpet or hardwood flooring. But I would think that it would work in most scenarios. As long as it's flat ground, it should be able to stand up just fine. I just wouldn't put it at any angle that is sloped downwards, because once again, there's no front support. So if you were to put it at an angle like this, the fan might tilt too much and then fall flat. Now it is made of metal, so I don't think it would really damage the system, but I would just make sure to keep it at a flat or maybe a little opposite angle so the fan can stay balanced. So in terms of recharging, this recharges in about 2.5 hours according to the manual. I've recharged it from about 65% battery, and it was relatively quick. I think it only took like 20 or 30 minutes. So this one recharges very fast and it lasts for a while. So I didn't do a full test on running it from 100% to 0% battery, but one thing I do know is that I used it from 100% to about 70% battery, and I was using it at 75% of the full power output, and that lasted for about 2.5 to 3 hours. So I can assume that this will last 3 hours, around 3 hours on full power output. So overall, I really think this is a great fan for someone who needs something portable and can't always rely on a power outlet being there. So yeah, overall, I think this is a pretty good system for someone who probably is using. How did you jump in here? Move. Get out of here. So I think this would be great for someone who needs it for maybe a home backup or a RV, camper van, or something like that. I think this would be a smart investment because you don't need a power outlet, and plus it lasts a while. Even if you just need it running at a slow pace just to keep circulation, this could be a great tool for you. And I haven't really reviewed these fans before, but I mean, I've never had a portable fan that's as big as this, and that can last a pretty decent time. So I would recommend this to those types of people. And then other than that, you can check out the link to this in the description below, and SetPower is actually giving me a 10% off discount for all of you watching. So if you want this and you want to get the discount, it'll be down in the description, and you can just click the link and it should be applied to you at checkout. So I think this runs for about $130, and I don't know how much the 12-inch one is, but if you want a smaller version, maybe you need a little bit more portability, you can also use that coupon towards that as well if you want it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and have a good day, and I look forward to seeing you in another video.